Imagine the year is 1915. The Western Front is a scar across Europe, a landscape of mud, barbed wire, and trenches. But beneath this surface of stalemate and death, another war is being fought. A secret, terrifying war in the dark, where men burrowed like moles deep into the earth. This is the story of one of the most brutal and unique battles of the Great War, the fight for Hill 60. So, what was Hill 60? It wasn't a mountain, not even a proper hill. It was a man-made mound, created from the spoiled dugout during the construction of a nearby railway line just south of Ypres in Belgium. But in the flat, featureless landscape of Flanders, even this slight elevation offered a massive strategic advantage. Whoever controlled Hill 60 had a commanding view of the surrounding area, allowing their artillery to rain down fire with devastating accuracy on the enemy's positions. In early 1915, the Germans held this crucial high ground, and the British were determined to take it, no matter the cost. The German defenders had fortified Hill 60 extensively. They had deep trenches, machine gun nests, and concrete pillboxes. A frontal assault would be suicidal, a lesson the British had learned time and time again. So, they decided to go under. This was the dawn of a new, horrifying type of warfare: mining warfare. Both sides began to dig, not just for shelter, but as a weapon. The concept was simple in theory, but terrifying in practice. Specialized tunneling companies, often made up of experienced coal miners from civilian life, would dig narrow tunnels, called galleries, out from their own lines, deep beneath no man's land, and right under the enemy's trenches. The goal: to pack these galleries with massive amounts of explosives and then detonate them, literally blowing the enemy's fortifications and the soldiers in them into the sky. But this was a silent, deadly game of cat and mouse, played out in complete darkness, hundreds of feet underground. The diggers worked in cramped, claustrophobic conditions. The air was thick with the smell of damp earth and sweat. The only light came from flickering candles, which also served as a crude warning system. If the flame went out, the oxygen was gone. Every sound was magnified. The scrape of a shovel, a whispered word, could travel through the soil and alert the enemy. The greatest fear was countermining. The Germans were doing the exact same thing. Tunnelers would often stop and press their ears to the tunnel wall, listening for the faint, rhythmic tap-tap of an enemy pickaxe. Hearing that sound meant the enemy was close, maybe just a few feet away. Sometimes, tunnelers would break through into an enemy gallery, leading to desperate hand-to-hand combat in the pitch black with shovels and pickaxes. Other times, one side would detonate a smaller charge, a caniflet designed not to break the surface, but to collapse the enemy's tunnel, burying the men inside alive. It was a psychological nightmare. The constant threat of being entombed in the dark was a burden few could bear. For the attack on Hill 60, the British Royal Engineers tunneling companies had been working for months. They dug a network of galleries deep into the clay soil beneath the hill. Their work was incredibly precise. They had to calculate their position perfectly to ensure the mines were directly under the German points. They dug silently, using bayonets and other soft digging tools to avoid making noise. They laid down mats on the tunnel floor to muffle the sound of their footsteps. Every bag of soil had to be discreetly carried back to their own lines and disposed of without creating a new mound that would give away their position. By April 1915, the preparations were complete. The British had placed 6 mines beneath the German positions on and around Hill 60. The 2 largest mines were placed directly under the summit. In total, they had packed the galleries with over 10,000 pounds of high explosives. Everything was ready. The plan was to detonate the mines simultaneously, vaporize the German defenses, and then have infantry rush forward to seize the resulting craters before the Germans could recover. On the evening of April 17, 1915, at 7:05 p.m., the plunger was pushed. The ground on the Western Front shook with a man-made earthquake. A series of colossal explosions erupted from beneath Hill 60. Eyewitnesses described it as if the gates of hell had opened. Massive columns of fire, earth, and debris were hurled thousands of feet into the air. The German front line on the hill simply ceased to exist. Trenches, machine gun posts, and the soldiers manning them were obliterated in an instant. The largest blast left a crater over 150 feet wide and 30 feet deep. The sound of the explosion was heard miles away. For a moment, there was just stunned silence, but that moment didn't last. Immediately, British infantry from the 1st Battalion of the Royal West Kent Regiment surged forward from their trenches. Their objective was not to charge into the craters, but to occupy the newly formed lips, which now provided a new form of high ground. They scrambled through the apocalyptic landscape of churned earth and wreckage, choking on the acrid smoke. They expected to find a dazed and shattered enemy. Instead, they ran into a whirlwind of desperate resistance. The Germans, though horrifically battered, reacted with incredible speed and ferocity. They knew the strategic value of the hill and immediately launched counterattacks to retake the lost ground. What followed was some of the most savage fighting of the entire war. The battle for the craters of Hill 60 became a brutal, close-quarters slugging match. The fighting took place on the steep, unstable slopes of the newly formed craters. Soldiers used rifles, bayonets, and an ever-increasing number of hand grenades. It was a chaotic melee, where friend and foe were often indistinguishable in the smoke and confusion. Control of the crater lips swayed back and forth. A section of trench would be won, only to be lost moments later in a hail of grenades. For 4 relentless days, the battle raged. Both sides threw more and more men into the meat grinder. Casualties were astronomical. The ground became a macabre mix of mud, blood, and the mangled remains of the fallen. Snipers picked off anyone who showed their head for a second. Artillery from both sides relentlessly pounded the small patch of ground, adding to the carnage. The British managed to hold on, but at a terrible price. The initial assault and the subsequent defense cost them thousands of casualties. The Germans suffered even more, with many of the original defenders being completely wiped out by the initial mine explosions. By April 21st, the British had consolidated their hold on the hill, but the fighting didn't stop. The Germans launched another major attack in early May, this time using poison gas for the first time in the Ypres sector, which caused horrific casualties and forced a partial British withdrawal. Ultimately, the battle for Hill 60 was a microcosm of the First World War itself, a story of incredible bravery, technological innovation, and horrific human cost for a tiny piece of ground. The use of mining warfare would escalate, culminating in the massive explosions at the Battle of Messines in 1917. But Hill 60 was a crucial and bloody chapter in its development. It demonstrated the lengths to which both sides would go to break the deadlock of the trenches, turning the very earth into a weapon. Today, Hill 60 is a memorial site. The craters, softened by time and overgrown with grass, are still there, silent scars on the landscape. They serve as a powerful and haunting reminder of the men who fought and died, not just on the surface, but in the cold, dark earth beneath it. It's a testament to a unique and terrifying form of warfare, and to the unimaginable courage and endurance of the soldiers who had to face it. Thanks for watching. If you found this piece of history interesting, please hit the like button and subscribe for more stories from the past. Let us know in the comments what other battles you'd like to see us cover. See you next time.